I just spent 2 weeks living, working and skiing in the Swiss Alps with a great co-living community. I was attending their Workation event, which gave a great taste into what it's like to be part of a co-living community. So let me tell you about my time in this secret little spot in the mountains. Spoiler alert, it's also a really great budget way to be able to explore Switzerland with an incredibly cheap annual ski pass at €90. But more on that later. As my girlfriend was also joining me, we flew from Athens. After a few hours, we arrived in Geneva, where we were picked up and driven to the accommodation. By the time we arrived, it was quite late, so we had some dinner and briefly said hello to everyone before heading to bed. We were keen to get back out on the slopes the next morning, so after some breakfast, we were driven to one of 3 resorts that we had access to with our lift passes. There was some fresh snow falling, which was really nice for our first day. We had a chilled morning with a couple of runs, and then it was time to head back to the chalet. As the name Workation suggests, we weren't just there to holiday. We were also using it as a time to work and be productive. So that afternoon we cracked on with some work. For dinner that evening we had raclette, and it was a great chance to meet everyone who was also attending the Workation, as well as other co-livers who were staying in the area too. The next morning we headed to the slopes again. Because there are 3 resorts that we had access to, we would alternate and go to different ones different days. I really loved that the slopes were so quiet. I'm still relatively new to snowboarding. Last year was the first time I learnt how to snowboard, so I get a little nervous when so many people are zooming past really fast. But here we never had that problem at all. The slopes were always so empty, it felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. Obviously there are some downsides to choosing smaller resorts over larger ones, but for me I really enjoyed the slower pace and chilled out vibe at the small local resorts. It was another afternoon of working back at the accommodation, but that evening we went night skiing, which was a really fun experience. After 2 skiing sessions in one day, we were already exhausted by the 3rd day, so we switched it up and had a chilled morning to try and regain our energy. We went for a little walk around the town we were staying in and then hit the slopes again in the afternoon. Because we had 2 weeks, it was really nice to not feel pressured to have to ski all day, every day. We had a real good mix of weather throughout the 2 weeks too. Some days were nice and sunny, while others had some fresh snow. I was a little worried that by March all the snow would be melted, but there were a few snowfalls whilst we were there which proved otherwise. We quickly fell into a routine of skiing in the morning, working in the afternoon and then socialising in the evening. On this day we went into a nearby bigger resort, Verbier, where we went to an après-ski bar for the evening. As a freelance photographer, a lot of my work can be done remotely, which means I can do things like this. 2 weeks in the mountains, snowboarding every day, but also still getting work done. And probably being more productive than I normally am because I was surrounded by other digital nomads who were also working. It's very hard to find a good work-life balance when you work for yourself, which is why I love this perfect balance of holiday and working. As the 2 weeks went on, it was really nice to form friendships with everyone else too. Being able to hear everyone's different travel stories and what jobs they do that allow them to travel so often was really inspiring. As I mentioned earlier, this is a great budget way to travel if you have the freedom to take your work with you. If you stay here in Switzerland with the co-living company, you can get a locals discount for the annual ski pass, which gives access to the ski lifts in the winter as well as access in the summer for hiking and other sports too, for only €90. So if you're a digital nomad or work remotely, then definitely check out the co-living company in Switzerland. They also have other locations around the world too. It really felt like we were in a secret little undiscovered corner of Switzerland sometimes, and I can't wait to head back again in the future.